is 1965, a forgotten char in Bangladesh, where even people were afraid to take their names after sunset. On that char, Shepherd Manu went out with his herd as usual. All around was a sea of sand, the soft sound of cowbells roaming in the air. Everything was so quiet, as if time had stopped. But suddenly, a terrifying sound pierced the silence. Far away, at the end of the meadow, a huge whirlwind of dust was rushing towards the shepherd. At first, he thought that maybe a storm had broken out. But then I realized it wasn't a storm. It was something alive, that had no shape, no shadow, just the intense, rushing presence of an invisible force. The cattle started running wildly one by one. Manu's throat went dry. His feet seemed to freeze in the sand. And just then, the whirlwind suddenly stopped 50 hands away in front of the Manu shepherd. As if a monster had suddenly stopped and looked at him. The dust slowly settled, and what was seen was neither a human nor an animal. A huge mound of sand was rising from the earth, and from the mound's chest burst forth 2 eyes. Yes, 2 inhuman, gigantic eyes, as if swollen like tennis balls and blinking like a human. Manu couldn't even scream anymore. Before his eyes, 2 goats and a cow were suddenly pulled underground. In an instant, it was as if the ground swallowed them. The next day, the people of the village gathered, and a local scholar was called. When he looked around the char, his face changed color. He said slowly, "This place contains the genie of the Samharesh tribe, whose job is to pull living beings from under the sand." But the question is, why did he come? And even today, if someone steps foot on that meadow at night, a silent roar can be heard from beneath the sand, as if someone is still searching for their next victim. Are you ready to know the whole truth of that incident? Then subscribe to our channel now, because now you will hear that cursed story of Samruhesh Jinn. The story of today is set in 1965 or 1966. I cannot say the exact date, because at that time, people did not keep time and dates in the same way as now. It is good to say one thing in advance. This is that due to river erosion, large areas disappear into the river. Similarly, new chars are also formed. Most of the chars that were there around 1965 or 1966 are no longer in their previous places. The river has broken and disappeared, and new chars have formed in other places. At that time, you would see a shepherd taking his cattle to that char. There would be 1 or 2 people in the vast, empty char. They would feed the cattle grass all day long. At the end of the day, they would return to their homes. Sometimes they would stay overnight, but never permanently. This was how their life went. All around was a sea of grass, silence, and the sound of cow and buffalo bells could be heard from afar. Such was the man, Manu. The locals knew him as Manu Rakhal. In this region, who are called shepherds, they looked after not only their own cattle, but also the cows and goats of large households. In this way, those animals would gradually grow, one after another. In this way, a good business would be built based on cattle, and many people would earn their livelihood through this system. Everything seemed to be connected to each other. The river, the pasture, the shepherd, and the cattle. This is how the day went on. And one of those days, Manu the shepherd, like any other day, went out to the pasture with the cattle. He set off in the morning, When it was approximately 12:30 p.m., Manu the shepherd suddenly saw from a distance dust was flying at one end of the pasture. At first, he thought it might be a wind, but no, it wasn't that usual wind. The dust storm was rising, as if some vehicle, a horse-drawn carriage or a truck, was speeding across the sand. From one side of the meadow to the other, a whirlwind of dust was rushing across the sand straight towards him. Manu's mind was filled with curiosity. Who could live in this desert, in this solitude? There are no roads in this place, no people. At that moment, his cows and goats suddenly started screaming and bawling. One by one, the cows started running, losing their sense of direction. The goats were running away. The sheep were huddled in one place in fear. Manu was shocked. He said to himself, "What is this again, father? What is this thing in this desert?" At first he thought it might be a sandstorm, which is like a small cyclone. Sandstorms move around and blow dust with the wind. But no, this is not that sandstorm. It's like something is moving, something alive. It's coming towards Manu at a very fast speed. Nothing can be seen in the dust, yet he can sense something is rushing straight towards him. If a car is moving over the sand, you can immediately understand where the car is, what its shape is, and behind it, dust is flying with the wind. But this thing that is rushing through this dust, it has no shape. Nothing can be understood. What is it? A car? A motorcycle? Or something else? Manu Rakhal stared in surprise. The question in his mind, how could such a thing come into this jar? Because at that time, 1965-66, there was no electricity in that area. Motorized vehicles were almost not seen. So how could something like this be rushing across this jar? Manu is thinking, imagining, but he's not getting any answer. Although he is surprised, fear still does not enter his mind. But the surprising thing is, the cattle are scared. From a distance, even from a few kilometers away, they sensed something was coming. The cows were screaming, the goats were running in all directions, the buffaloes were jumping in fear. And Manu? But he was standing still, in one place. Manu was a brave man. He was between 35 and 40 at the time. He had spent days and nights in this jar, and he had never seen such a sight. So today he did not run away. He stood there, wanting to see. What is that thing? The dust whirlwind came rushing at a fast speed, and as it came, right in front of Manu, about 50 feet away, it suddenly stopped, just as if a vehicle had braked and stopped in an instant. Not a slow stop, just suddenly, stop! The dust storm stopped. Manu was looking in shock. His surroundings were now silent. The cattle have run away. Only the soft murmur of the wind can be heard across the plain. And that dust whirlwind standing silently. Now the question in Manu's eyes. Who is that? What is that? The dust storm suddenly stopped. Slowly, the dust started falling to the ground. And in some time, everything was silent again. Manu the shepherd was squinting. What is this? When the dust cleared, he saw a sand dune about 2 feet high from the ground. Surrounded by dry marshes, a dune suddenly stood in the middle of a sea of sand. Manu thought, is this the thing that has been running towards me for so long? He noticed a clear line had formed on the ground in the direction from which the dust storm had come, as if someone had dug a straight line in the sand with a spade or shovel. And that line ended right here, where that mound of sand now stands.
Manu was stunned. The question in his mind was, what is this? Once he thought, no, this must be a ghost game, right? Then he remembered the old days, the stories people had heard. Hidden treasure changes places like this. It wanders underground and stops in front of whoever is lucky enough to have it. At that time, a glimmer of greed appeared in Manu's eyes. I am a poor man. Maybe God has sent this treasure to my destiny. He slowly walked towards the mound, stomping his feet. There was only one thought running through his head. This time I think my day will turn around. And just then, within 3 or 4 feet of walking away, he noticed some parts of the sand dune were moving on their own. The sand was falling down. A soft but clear sound was heard. Drop, drop, drop. Manu stopped. The sand was moving softly under his feet, as if something was waking up underground. A slight tremor in his chest, but his feet were still moving forward. And at that moment, from the side of the mount's chest, a small wave-like tremor spread around. The silent air of the char trembled. Manu's throat went dry. He was looking and he could see something was moving in the sand, slowly coming out. Then Manurakal saw from the top of that sand dune, slowly, sand was falling. It felt like something was moving from inside. He slowly walked a few steps forward. Then he sat down right in front of the dune. With his head forward, he stretched out his hand to move the sand. But just then, he saw 2 big eyes. Eyes as round as tennis balls. From inside that sand, looking at Manurakhal. Eyes are blinking, just like a human. Slowly blink, blink. Monrakhal then moved back. Oh, father, kill me, I'm dead. He's going to eat me, save me. Saying this, he gave a run. Alone on the shore. No one was seen, and no one was even allowed to enter. He ran towards the river. There was knee-deep water there. But what did it matter? He ran across the river with a strong run, and on the other side, he found some people. The shepherd found the people around and told them the whole story. As he told them what he had seen, a look of great fear was clearly on his face. Hearing the incident, the people returned with him to the spot. When they went there, they saw that where there used to be a sand dune, it had now disappeared. However, there were still clear marks on the ground where something had run from a distance and stopped. Then the local people said to him, "Look, are your cows, goats and buffaloes all okay?" The shepherd then started gathering all his cattle. The cows and goats were eating grass and leaves completely normally. But when he counted them, it was found that 2 goats and 1 cow were missing. At first he thought that the animals might have moved away from the area out of fear. But he soon remembered that they never go anywhere except the shepherd. Then their eyes fell on another strange sight. Where the sand mound had been, a hole had now formed. It seemed as if it had gone underground. Not only that, similar hole-like structures were seen in 3 places in the char. And the sand in those 3 places had clear signs of struggle and conflict, as if someone or something had been forcibly dragged, or the cows and goats had struggled mightily. These signs indicated that the missing cows and goats had been dragged underground during that mysterious incident. Their hoof prints were clearly visible in those places, as a sign of the animals' attempts to defend themselves. They must have fought back. The local people dug a little into the sinking land, but they did not find any holes or tunnels at the bottom. There was no way to enter the underground. Only the surface of the sand was slightly scorched or eroded, and nothing else was unusual. Only in those exposed areas were the hoof prints and scuffle marks clearly visible. As the incident spread rapidly among the people around, a great panic was created in the entire Char area. Everyone started asking in fear, "What is this thing? Where did it come from?" In the midst of this panic, a major crisis arose for the cattle owners. There was no way to keep so many cows and goats indoors by simply scaring them. They had to be fed every day. 1 or 2 animals could have been managed somehow, but it was impossible to cut grass and feed so many animals. Therefore, amidst danger and mystery, they had to leave the animals in the pasture as usual, accompanied by a deep uncertainty and panic. The people left in fear. But after that, this incident did not happen again. When this incident spread like wind among the people, many people were curious to know what it really was. Then they went to talk to a good scholar, wanting to know what the thing really was. Where did it come from? Where did it go? Why did they take the cows and goats? The scholar took some time because this was the first time he had heard of such an incident. So he had no prior knowledge or idea about this matter. He said that he would try to collect the information through some of his familiar jinn friends. About a week later, he sent a message to some people to come because he had received information about this matter. Some people went to him. After going, the scholar said that his jinn had given him some amazing information. The information was that this thing was a terrible and very powerful jinn. This jinn belongs to the Samhuresh tribe, and they are very powerful and very arrogant jinn. They are usually kings, that is, jinns of this species are of a dynasty, such as a king, his son a king, his son a king, and so on. It is not known whether this tribe or a jinn of this lineage has a separate name, but the name of this tribe is Samhuresh or Samhuresh. And when this jinn fought with another tribe, he was captured by that tribe as a king. After the king of that tribe won the war, the king of the tribe Samharash or Samharesh, the pronunciation is not certain, but it will be something like that, was captured. He was imprisoned for many years. Then he was released, but on one condition. Those who captured him said, "You were not a good person. You became a jinn and oppressed many people. You have to promise that we are releasing you, but you will not harm anyone. You return to your tribe and swear in the name of Allah that you will change your nature." He allegedly swore in the name of Allah that he would never do such a thing again. However, he asked permission for another matter. Since he had been imprisoned for a long time, his body's strength had decreased a lot. Due to the decrease in strength, he had a lot of weakness. So, after he is released, he will have to eat some cattle, otherwise he will not be able to become normal. Then they gave permission. "Okay, you go," said the king of that tribe. "You release him to a certain place." By a certain place, they were told to go outside the borders of their kingdom and release him. Then he would eat someone's cattle and then return to his tribe, basically on this condition that he was released. When he was finally released after being imprisoned for a long time and was released, the place where he was released was that place in the forest. After he was released, he saw that there were several cattle there. Since he had become weak from being imprisoned for a long time, he ran there very quickly. When he got closer, he first saw a man and thought that he would eat this man. But he had promised He had promised in the name of Allah. That is why he did not harm the man. Then he took a cow and 2 goats from there and left. No one can say whether anyone has ever seen this genie or sensed its presence in that vast grassland. Yes, there have been some scary incidents, but no one has been able to tell of any incident of this Sam Huresh coming out from under the ground like this. Then he could not say which cattle he took. What happened to Sam Huresh after that is not known. That much information is known, no other information is known beyond that. The shepherd Manu was scared, but he did not have any fever or illness. When this incident spread around, the shepherd Manu's money lender, from whom he had brought the cattle, also became curious to hear about the incident. He himself came and saw the place on the spot and was also scared. He praised the shepherd Manu even more, saying, "You did not put my cows and goats in further danger because you were scared. That is the big thing. You came again later, so whatever was lost has gone as charity. I have accepted it." So the owner did not say anything else to him. That was the incident, dear listeners. Such powerful and majestic jinn like Sam Huresh rarely come to humans. And they are usually more about war and destruction. That's what we hear. However, no more detailed information about this matter was found in the context of this incident. This was the incident. I thank Saddam Hussein Bhai for sending this incident.
Even though it seems like it's all over, the sound of that char's cry can still be heard in the air. See you again in the next story with another true story, more terrifying, more real. And if you liked the story, subscribe to the channel, like it, and let me know in the comments which moment scared you the most.